Okay, and so from kids to seniors, in the case of seniors, of course, vitamin K2 is very, very important. Which are the main benefits for this age when you become not so young any longer, and you
Well,
become
the best documented benefits are bone health, and also heart health. So because vitamin K2 on the one hand helps you to bring the calcium to your bones, to keep strong bones. At the same time, it helps to clear your blood vessels, so to bind the excess calcium from the blood vessels and to take it out of there. That is very well documented. But there are many other fields of application where we already have information and where studies are still ongoing. One of this is immunity. So we know that we need vitamin D3 to support the immune system. We even need quite high dosages of it, especially during a pandemic, for example, which is going on now. But when you take high dosages of vitamin D3, you also take in more calcium, because vitamin D3 has a role for the immune system, but also a role for uptaking calcium. So when you're taking D3, you're taking in more calcium, but then you want the calcium to go to the right places. So here vitamin K2 is needed. So this combination of D3 and K2 is important. And as you grow older, your immune system becomes less resistant. So you are more in need of these nutrients. K2 also plays a role in inflammation and in thrombosis regulation. These are new fields of science where we have less information, but we are learning more every year. It is active everywhere in your body, and it's quite logic because calcium is needed for body functions all over your body.
Yeah.
And when you have K2, you can balance the calcium and make sure that you have it there where you need it and not in the places where you want to get rid of it.
Yeah, so it's good for women. We said about menopause, for instance, but also for men. So it's very universal.
It's
vitamin.
A family product. At home, I take it daily. I give some to my daughter who is growing up, so it's important. My husband takes it. It's really a product for all ages. The dosage will vary a little bit. Very young children will take a smaller dose, but then growing up kids will take a higher dose. When you are old and facing problems like osteoporosis, you will probably higher your dose, but it's basically something for the whole family. And the good news is also that it is non-toxic, so you don't have a risk of overdose. There have been toxicity studies. There have been studies with very high dosages without negative side effects. And by the way, that's quite interesting. The only natural source of K2 and K7, because that's the K2 type we're talking about, is natto. Natto is a fermented soybean that is consumed a lot in certain regions in Japan, especially in traditional populations, because also in Japan, people unfortunately are tending to eat a more Western and less healthy diet. And in those regions or in those populations that consume a lot of natto, you see very low osteoporosis rates and very low cardiovascular disease rates. And the dosages or the quantities of natto that some people eat would represent extremely high dosages if you would compare it to a food supplement. So 5 times more than the usual commercial food supplements. And you don't see any negative side effects in these populations. You also only see the benefits.
Wow. One of the things I really appreciate about Kappa Bioscience is the fact that you are so able to communicate also to your audience all the benefits, and I really like the smart way of communicating of your company, which of course addresses to the industry, but the way that you communicate is very, very smart in my opinion. So congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But I really think it's very, very interesting what you communicate and also the literature you release. And one of the topics I've been reading a little and not widely about is the perfect paper program. And it's something maybe you already a little bit told us, but can you explain us what's the really the perfect pair program is, please?
Yes, so the perfect pair is what we call the combination of vitamins D3 and K2. Now, if you look at science, there are many studies on vitamin K2 and its effect on bone health and on heart health and also on other health issues. But then if you start to look at those studies where vitamin D3 and K2 are combined and then compared to single dose supplementation, you see that the best results, for example, for bone health, are obtained when you combine vitamins D3 and K2. The reason is that it's going to become a little more technical now. So I'm taking the example of bone health. When you vitamin K2 balances calcium, and it does that by activating proteins. We have about 20 proteins in our body that are responsible for regulating the calcium household. And one of these proteins is osteocalcine. So when your osteocalcine is activated by K2, it will bind the calcium into the bone.
Okay.
You need vitamin D3 to synthesize osteocalcine. So it's really a synergy. You take in calcium usually through your food, eventually by a supplement. Vitamin D3 helps you to absorb the calcium into your body, and vitamin K2 brings the calcium to the right places. So that's the first part of the synergy, but it goes further, because if you look at studies, you see that this osteocalcine protein, when you take D3 and K2 at the same time, D3 will synthesize more of it. So K2 activates the proteins that are created under the influence of D3, but when you combine D3 and K2, you will have more of the proteins. So this synergy is very strong, and the synergy is strong for bone health, but also for heart health, because the protein that there is also a protein that helps clear your blood vessels. That's MGP, or matrix Gla protein, which is again synthesized under the influence of D3. So when you have more D3, you will have more of this MGP, which can then get activated by vitamin K2. So this is one part of the synergy, this cooperation. On the other hand, there is also the fact that vitamin D3 is needed for, amongst others, immunity. And at the same time, in parallel, it synthesizes osteocalcine. So you take up more calcium. Taking up more calcium without having vitamin K2 to guide the calcium to the right places it's a waste, it's a pity, and it could potentially even be harmful. So that's another reason why you should always combine. The best D3 product is a D3-K2 combination, and the best K2 product is a D3-K2 combination. That's as simple as it is.
Okay, very, very interesting. And I know that there is a superhero in your product line, which is called K2 Delta, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I also really like the cartoons you produced in order to explain the function and the main features that make K2 Delta your superhero. Why should it be called superhero?
We call it a superhero because it is the only solution to a problem that we have seen in the K2 market. It started when the company was launched. We started to analyze the products in the market to see what's the quality of products, what are technical issues. And in these studies, we saw that systematically, when we tested existing K2 products with calcium, magnesium, or other minerals, we saw that the products were not conform. So they did not contain sufficient K2. Sometimes they didn't contain K2 at all, although it was marked on the label. And yeah, this was really quite bizarre, because it was always in particular combinations. And then we started to look at these co-ingredients, and our scientists found out that vitamin K2 is broken down in alkaline environments. So vitamin K2 is a very sensitive molecule. It has a very long side chain that makes it sensitive to light. That can be overcome by light protection and light tight packaging. But how to protect a molecule against an alkaline environment? Now, as I told you before, the production method of vitamin K2 is an organic synthesis. This is opposed to the industrial fermentation that was the older production method on the market. And the big advantage of the organic synthesis is that you produce the pure molecule. So you don't produce a kind of solution containing K2, you produce a 100% pure K2MK7 molecule. It's much too concentrated for the use in the industry. So normally it's diluted and then it's brought to the market as a concentration. But before doing this, we can microencapsulate the molecule. So it gets a layer that protects it against alkaline environment, and a second layer that is technical protection, so that in the machinery the first layer does not get damaged. And this product was brought to market in 2012. Since then, we are running stability studies every year. We run studies for ourselves in the beginning, and now we run studies for many of our customers. And since all the years I'm working at Kappa, I have only seen stable products. And if I look at the studies from the years before, it's being confirmed. So this is really a solution to a problem where there was no solution beforehand. That's why we call it a hero.
Okay, thank